What's up YouTube? My name is Zenna. Welcome back to another video. So now that Battlefield 2042 has officially released all of its content, we're not getting any more weapons. I figured now would be a great time for me just to sit down with y'all in my collection menu and go through every single weapon, every single loadout, exactly how I use each and every weapon. Now keep in mind, everyone plays Battlefield differently. They have their own pace in the game, and my pace and the way I play the game may not fit your exact playstyle. So it's okay to change up the builds. There's not necessarily like you just have to run the weapon this exact way, the way that I say it. Feel free to take what I'm telling you today and maybe put your own little spin on it. I'm gonna go as quickly as I possibly can. Let's start off in the secondary category with the G57, one of the best secondaries in the game. You can't go wrong. You'll notice across the board on most of my weapons, it's gonna be pretty similar attachments. Red dot sight, we've got the drum mag. Make sure you fill up your extra ammo slots. Underbarrel laser sight, and I think I got the champion on there, just because I use this weapon in burst mode, so that extra vertical recoil really helps, I think, in the burst mode. MP28, this is probably my favorite secondary in the game. This is probably the one that I use the most. Laser sight, drum mag, again, fill up your ammo slots, red dot, factory barrel. And another thing too, I normally, if I'm running like the factory barrel, I'll always bring a suppressor. Just what if I hit a flank? I need to go stealth mode. All my weapons, I always bring a suppressor every single time. Next up, M44. Not really much we can change here. I've got the high power, got the red dot. Not really much going on here. P51. This is a pretty fun weapon. It's like a little mini P90. Red dot, standard issue, laser sight. I got the champion, just kind of help manage the recoil a little bit. Surprisingly, the subsonic with the suppressor is actually not a bad option on this weapon. So if you're doing like a little stealth build, you want like a little stealth machine gun to carry in your back pocket, this is not a bad option to run with the subsonic. Up next, we got the NVK, pretty standard here. I like to use it in the burst or the single fire. Either way is fine. Again, red dot, standard extended, fill up your ammo, laser sight, factory barrel. I don't think you need any of the I don't think you need the recoil control with the Warhawk, but I'll bring the suppressor because why not? Super 500, pretty straightforward. Red dot, buckshot is my preferred shell, but I'll throw on the slugs just in case I need them for whatever reason. The Season 6 pistol, the L9CZ, not really a huge fan of this gun, but once again, red dot, laser, factory barrel, suppressor to swap, ammo to swap, pretty straightforward. The Deagle, I've been running this a little bit more recently just because it has really good kill feed clip potential. Red dot, high power. I don't really like the close combat ammo, but I bring it just because. Laser sight, factory barrel, pretty straightforward. The Deagle is definitely a solid choice though. M1911, when I tier 1 this weapon, I only had access to an 8-round magazine. So since then, they've added the extended mags, and this weapon's a lot more viable. I'm still not ever going to use it because I've got the Deagle or I've got the MP28, but it's here if you need it, if you like that kind of style. The Rex, I actually really like the Rex. I wish it had a red dot sight, but the Rex is a great weapon to use, really fun. I definitely recommend hipfire. Like if you get into a weird situation, the iron sights, in my opinion, are trash. I hate them, but the hipfire is surprisingly accurate. So those little random hipfire plays in those close quarters situations can actually, you can reward yourself pretty well with that. The Rafka M93R, not really a fan of this weapon to be honest, but they did add some attachments after I tier 1'd it, so it's a little bit more viable now. Once again, fill up your ammo, maybe bring a suppressor just because I'm not using the Rafka, but I did tier 1 it. MP443, I kind of like this pistol. I think it's all right. Once again, I wish I had a red dot, but extended mags, I run the tactical light because why not? Factory barrel and then a little suppressor. So yeah, that's it for the secondaries. Moving over to the SMGs, a little bit more interesting here, starting off with one of my favorite weapons in the entire game, the PBX. There's a couple different ways you can run the PBX. Obviously, y'all know how I am about my red dot sights. Not really much is going to change in the sight category, just going to be honest. The ammo, you are very flexible with the ammo on this weapon. Oops, I did not mean to delete that. Starting off, the close combat is probably just all around the best option. However, the standard extended, the 40-round mag, if you want to use the PBX a little bit more medium range, the standard extended is a fantastic option, and I really don't think you can go wrong with either of these. The close combat is just going to give you a faster time to kill up close. The subsonic, surprisingly, I've done a couple YouTube videos on the subsonic with the PBX, and it performs very, very well. So honestly, use any of these ammos. The subsonic, I've got the suppressor. Once again, I've got suppressors on all my guns. So I've got the suppressor is my standard barrel on this weapon, but I'll throw on the factory barrel sometimes. But yeah, even if I'm running the close combat, I'm still using the suppressor. If I'm using the standard, I'm still using the suppressor, LWG, to top it off. It's a pretty straightforward weapon, but yeah, the ammos is kind of where you can kind of play around with the ammos a little bit, but PBX is a solid weapon, and you get it at level 1. PP29, best gun in the game since day one. Not really much to say here. Red dot, standard issue. Honestly, you can use all of these ammos. It doesn't even matter because the gun's just so busted. I don't even know why I have this on here. I always run it wrapped. Yeah, PP29, best gun in the game, honestly. MP9, I used to love the MP9. It's not really my favorite anymore, but it's still pretty fun to use. Red dot, drum mag, close combat, standard. I think the close combat works better. The standard issue, you could run it and be okay, a little bit more medium range presence, but MP9 is just kind of a pea shooter, so you want to be up close in their face, and that's why I'm just going to throw on the drum mag. LWG, wrapped or RCOM, factory barrel is another great option. You can't really go wrong with the factory barrel on any gun, in my opinion. And I kind of feel the same way about the wrap suppressor. You'll see a lot of my weapons moving forward as I'm kind of running the similar build for almost all my weapons. K30, absolutely love the K30. I've been using it a lot recently. I've got this cool battle pass skin here called the Stinger, and it gives me this really clean red dot sight that I absolutely love. So yeah, ammo, I'm using the drum. I've got the standard extended, and just kind of whatever in that third slot. I hip fire non-stop with this weapon, so I need my hip fire accuracy. So MGL laser, you could throw in a little grip if you want, but I like having, even if you want to use the regular laser sight, either one is fine, it doesn't matter. I like to run it with a wrap suppressor. I did play around with like a stealth build, but it was just kind of like a hit marker machine. So I think like a RCOM factory barrel, if you don't want to run a suppressor, I think those are going to be your better options. But yeah, I like running it with the wrapped. I'm just weird about staying under the radar. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but a lot of the weapons in Battlefield 2042, I run with the wrap suppressor. Red dot, look at this, wrap suppressor, who would have thought? STNR, just really, again, working on that, working with the hip fire with the SMGs, just up close. I'm shoving the barrel down your throat and just hip firing you to death. Close combat is my preferred ammo type. However, the standard and the subsonic are still viable options. So might as well bring them along with you. If you don't want to run a suppressor, factory barrel or RCOM are probably going to be my choices. I literally never use the Warhawk. I'm sorry. I'm on any weapon, I'm not using the Warhawk. I don't need the recoil control and the weapon accuracy. I don't want to lose my aim down, or I don't want to lose my accuracy down range, especially with an SMG, because I'm already suffering a little bit from that extra spread. So when in doubt, in my opinion, on all weapons, when in doubt, factory barrel. If you don't know, when in doubt, on the underbarrel slot, just run a laser sight. It doesn't matter if the red laser or blue laser. Those are my when in doubt options for those two slots there. And that again, that applies for every weapon in the category. Factory barrel and laser sight is never a bad option. SCZ, I like this gun, but there's other SMGs that I think I prefer using. So it's a solid choice, but it's not my top choice. Got the drum, the red dot, the laser, wrap suppressor with a factory swap. Extended subsonic is actually not too bad on this weapon, so give that a try for sure. P90, not really many attachments here that we can play with. Laser sight, wrapped or factory barrel are going to be your best options here. You don't have any mags, and then obviously a red dot. But something else I haven't really talked about is on my scopes. Obviously y'all have seen I run red dot on basically every weapon, but I normally bring a thermal to swap just for those weird circumstances. Yeah, you'll notice a lot of my attachments kind of carry over with the weapons. I like the default muzzle on the AK-74U. I think it feels really nice. Reflex, you could also throw a Cobra on there, Fusion Hollow, whatever, doesn't matter. Standard extended, bring that extra ammo, and then a little laser sight. Not many attachments there on the 74U. PP2000, this gun has grown on me. A little red dot, little standard extended, little default muzzle. The bullet velocity on the portal weapons, like with the P90, the 7.4U, like I like running the P90 with the wrap suppressor, but the bullet velocity definitely hurts the weapon a little bit. So don't be afraid to take that off. I'm just, again, I'm really weird with my suppressors. I like being stealth in this game. I like going for those flanks, and I think that sound suppression, I'm not even studying the radar. Like, obviously, full stealth builds with the subsonic, you know, that's cool, but I'm not even studying the radar. I think just that sound suppression gives you enough of an advantage. You can sneak up on people and give them hell. All right, now for my favorite weapon category, the assault rifle category. I love assault rifles in literally every video game that I play. It just fits my playstyle really well. I play around that medium range combat zone, and so assault rifles just really fit my playstyle, and I love them a lot. So M5A3, you can never go wrong with this weapon. It's been a solid choice ever since the start of the game. I like to run it with a red dot, the standard extended rounds, along with an LWG grip. I bring a little grenade launcher and a master key. You could also bring the incendiary launcher, a little short barrel, maybe a wrap suppressor, maybe an RCOM as well. But the short barrel just really maximizes your damage per second. So you are winning basically every single gunfight up close with the short barrel. Yes, you are going to lose out on some of those longer range fights, but the M5 is, you know, it's not really a longer range kind of AR. It's more of a close to medium range AR. Yeah, the standard issue, the close combat is okay, but I prefer the little bit more medium range damage of the standard ammo. AM40. I hated this in Season 2 when it came out, but as of recently, it's easily top 5 weapon in the game for me. And they just nerfed it, and I still think it's like top 5 weapon for me personally. Red dot, thermal to swap. Y'all know the story here. Drum mag is fantastic. I'll bring the high power and the 30 round mags as my backup. BCG or laser sight, either one is fine here. I love the wrap suppressor on the AM40. I think it fits perfectly. I don't even use any other barrels on this, to be honest. I think the wrap suppressor just fits the weapon really well. So I definitely would recommend it. If you don't want to run it, factory barrel. When in doubt, factory barrel. Up next, AK. This is the weapon I have the most kills on in the entire game. I've got over 50,000 kills with the AK. It's been my favorite weapon basically since the launch of the game. Red dot, standard issue extended. A lot of people ask me why I don't use the drum. I think it looks ridiculous on the weapon, and also I just like having that little bit quicker reload speed compared to the drum. Also, the ammo economy is better. Yes, when I run out of ammo in the drum, I could just switch over to this mag. Like if I was using the drum first, I could just switch over to my next mag or pick up an ammo box on the ground or whatever. But the ammo economy and the efficiency of the 40 round mag for me just feels really nice. But I don't even use the high power, just standard issue for me across the board. STNR laser, AK, I'm not afraid to just get up in your face and just hip fire you to death. So the STNR laser allows me to do that. I always bring some grenade launchers to swap. You have the master key available as well if you want to bring that. But yeah, when I was doing my engineer grinds, this was my engineer weapon. I would have these AP grenade launchers here to help me take out tanks and deal damage to vehicles. So the AK is a very versatile weapon. If you're playing engineer class, I definitely would recommend using the AK. My barrel. For the longest time, I ran the champion, and then I switched it up and I ran the tactical compensator. And then eventually, after all those kills, I ended up back on the factory barrel. After 50,000 kills, trying all different barrels, the factory barrel to me feels the best. Again, bring a suppressor just in case you need it, but factory barrel, STNR, 40 round mag, red dot. This is my go-to setup after 50,000 kills. Up next, we got the SCAR, easily one of the best ARs in the game. You cannot never go wrong with the SCAR. You could technically, put a little hybrid scope on it. You could run it a little bit more of like a medium long range build, but again, I'm just red dot, like I'm in your face. Yeah, red dot, drum mag. I've got the standard issue as well. The standard issue is decent to use, like if you're on a more close quarters map, like I don't know if you're reclaimed, maybe redacted. I don't know why you'd use a SCAR on redacted personally, but the high power drum is definitely my go-to mag. I start off with the incendiary launcher. Just that fire damage is just insane. Little HE, little AP for some vehicle protection. I like I like running the suppressor on the Scar personally. I think it feels really nice. I don't personally need the extra like recoil, the help with the recoil. But if I don't want to run the suppressor, I'm running the Arcom. I think the Arcom feels really nice on the Scar. You just have to worry about that vertical recoil control. But with the Arcom on here, there's literally no horizontal at all. So that's really nice. But yeah, it's kind of a similar story here as some of the other guns. Wrap suppressor, red dot. You know, it's kind of a similar thing with a lot of my weapons here. AC-42, absolutely love the AC-42. It's a beast weapon. You could, again, similar to the Scar, you could put a little hybrid scope on here. You could run it kind of long distance. But in my experience, the AC-42 just is like a pea shooter at range. So once again, I'm in your face with a red dot sight and a wrap suppressor and a underbarrel laser sight. The laser sight with this, the hip fire, it kind of turns it into like a little shotgun, and you can one burst people up close if you land the full burst. I like running the standard issue extended, and I have done subsonic builds with this weapon, and the subsonic is not bad, but it's probably just not as effective, I would say, as a standard issue. So that's going to be my preferred ammo choice. I like, whether I'm using subsonic or not, I think the wrap suppressor works really well on this weapon. Again, you got the flanks. You can, pick people off on rooftops, just kind of do like a little stealth thing. But I think the wrap suppressor works really well. If you don't like the wrap suppressor, I think the factory barrel or the Arcom are great options here for your barrel options. Again, factory barrel, wrap suppressor, in my opinion, you can never go wrong across the board on these weapons. RM68. I abused the absolute shit out of the RM68 when it came out in Season 4. I'm talking about I used it every single day. I racked up 10,000 kills, and I want to say about 3 weeks, which I know it sounds ridiculous, but I don't know if that was the exact time frame. But I racked up 10,000 kills in this gun very quickly because it was so OP. Anyway, red dot, little thermal to swap, why not? Standard issue extended, maybe some close combat ammo to swap as well. I like the laser just to help with hipfire situations, maybe throw in a little grenade launcher to swap as well. And then for the barrel, I'm running the short barrel because I keep my suppressed sound with the short barrel, and I get maximum damage per second. Basically, I get my max rate of fire, and I can contest people with SMGs up close. I can kill you far away. Yes, it does lose a little bit of that accuracy at the farther ranges because you've got the higher fire rate. So it's a little bit weaker in the higher ranges, but I still think it's an effective loadout, and I'm not really sniping people across the map with the RM. So yeah, short barrel red dot. I think this loadout absolutely is amazing, and you'll win a lot of gunfights with the RM. G46, my goodness. The G36C takes me back to a simpler day in gaming. I grew up with this weapon on Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I love the G36. It's one of my favorite guns ever. With that being said, I love this skin as well. This is a Battle Pass skin from Season 5, I want to say. Season 6, maybe? No, it was Season 6, actually. But yeah, this red dot is really clean on this skin. High power extended is definitely my go-to ammo. I've played around with the standard. I've played around with the subsonic, and the high power is easily my go-to. Underbarrel slot, I kind of go back and forth between the STNR and the LWG. I think both of these are fine options. I mean, the difference between the two is so minuscule it doesn't even honestly matter. And then for the barrel, the wrap suppressor has been my go-to. I've racked up a lot of playtime with this weapon. The Arcom and the factory definitely do a good job, but the wrap suppressor I think fits the build of the weapon really well. And I'm normally I'm doing a lot of flanking with this gun. I've got a 30-round mag. It's a reload simulator with this gun. Honestly, you're doing a ton of reloading. So I'm kind of playing on the back lines. I'm holding weird angles and peaks, and I'm shooting you kind of farther away. And yeah, G46 is a fantastic weapon. I absolutely love it. The VHX, man, the VHX went through a lot of changes in Season 6. It was insanely OP. They buffed it, they nerfed it, they buffed it, they nerfed it, all this stuff. I think now it's in a pretty good spot. Again, pretty similar weapon build. You'll notice red dot. I've got the standard extended. The subsonic is okay, but the standard extended, in my opinion, is the way to go. BCG feels really nice on this weapon. It has really strong hip fire, so I don't really feel the need to run a laser on it. And then the wrap suppressor, I think, fits extremely well in this weapon. But if you don't like that, factory barrel, again, never a bad choice. AK5C, another strong pick. This one is kind of reminds me of like the BSV. It's a little bit more versatile. You can mix up exactly how you play with it. I'm going to stick with the red dot regardless. I've got a thermal swap just in case I need a thermal for some reason. My go-to ammo here is going to be the high power extended. I've messed around with subsonic. I've also messed around with the close combat extended. Both of these ammo choices are completely viable and fine to use. The close combat, if you're running more of a smaller map, reclaimed, redacted stadium. If you're on a smaller infantry focused map, definitely use the close combat. But the high power feels really nice to me. I like the RCOM. I like the LWG. Little wrap suppressor maybe to swap. If you want to do a full stealth build, I think it's solid. I think you can get away with doing a heavy suppressor and a subsonic. You do have the master key available as well if you want to run the master key. LWG just feels pretty well rounded to me on this weapon. And I've got the incendiary and the AP there for some extra utility. But yeah, AK5C, great weapon. You can mix it up a lot of different ways. Moving over into the Vault ARs. M16 is probably one of the stronger choices here. They don't give us a red dot sight for some unknown crazy reason, so I'm going to go with the Cobra or maybe even a thermal. Standard extended mags. I like the laser sight. I go crazy with the hip fire on the M16. Bring some launchers just because. And then the RCOM barrel feels pretty solid to me, although once again you can't go wrong with the factory. And then I like the wrap suppressor on the M16 as well. I'll definitely, like in game, I'll swap between the wrapped and the RCOM pretty frequently on the M16. But yeah, M16 is a great weapon. ACR, not as strong as it was in Season 5. It was actually like one of the most OP guns in Season 5, but now it's in a pretty decent spot. Not many attachments here, so red dot, you can choose between wrapped or factory. I like the wrapped personally, and then the STNR with an extended mags, not much to see there for the ACR. A91, this is actually one of my favorite vault weapons, even though some people don't like it. Not sure why. I think it's really fun. I use it kind of like an SMG. Red dot, fusion hollow, wrap suppressor. Again, I'm going for those flanks. I'm going for that stealth approach. I'm playing this weapon almost like an SMG. Wrap suppressor with a laser and then the extended mags. M416 is good. It's a bit of a pea shooter, but the weapon, when the shots connect, the weapon feels nice. Red dot, extended mags, laser sight, grenade launchers, wrap suppressor or factory barrel, either one's fine. I've even ran this weapon with a 2X and it felt pretty good. But yeah, M4 is a solid choice. Maybe not quite as good as the M16, but still can't really go wrong with it. MTAR, again, using this, I like the A91, kind of like an SMG type of build. I want the wrap suppressor to be good on it, but the bullet velocity kind of kills it. So, default muzzle, you could throw the wrapped on there if you want. LWG feels nice to me. Laser sight's not a bad option. Extended mags, red dot, thermal to swap as well. Thermal feels pretty nice to run as your main sight. AEK is a absolute blast to use, although the reload on this gun, and really this applies to all the Vault ARs, but the reload on the AEK just kills me because you're putting down 900 bullets, or you've got an insane rate of fire, and so you're just constantly reloading with this weapon. So the reload is a bit of a nuisance. With that being said, I run the reflex, maybe a thermal swap. I've messed around with the irons as well, just for like random YouTube videos. I like the RCOM barrel. I'll bring a suppressor, of course, as usual. I like the laser. I've got some grenade launchers down here for some extra utility. But yeah, the AK is really, really strong weapon. It's just you have to play around the reload. Moving over to the LMG category, or the 200 round AR category in Battlefield 2042. Starting off with a strong one, the LCMG. It actually just got a nerf on the short barrel, which is what I used to run. I still think it's viable, just not quite as effective. So with that being said, I've kind of switched over to the wrap suppressor with the close combat ammo. And this is going to give me, the close combat ammo gives you really strong rate of fire. And this paired with the wrap suppressor, you can just go for some crazy flanks. And then on most of my LMGs, I'm always going to run a laser sight because the sprint to fire time on LMGs is so incredibly long that in some situations, I don't have time to aim down sights. So in certain situations, I'm literally just if I engage with you up close, I'm just hip firing you to death, and I don't even have time to aim down sight. So I'm just spraying and praying with a laser sight on almost every LMG in those close quarter situations. The standard ammo is okay, but with the LCMG, the entire time I've used it over, like, I think I've got like 10,000 kills on this or whatever. I've always ran the close combat ammo. But yeah, the suppressor, I think with this, you get some crazy flanks. And then this LCMG is really nice too, because you can bring grenade launchers. So yeah, LCMG is definitely an S tier LMG. Advances, not my first choice, but it is extremely strong. I see a lot of people use it. Basically the exact same story with the LCMG, wrap suppressor, STNR. I'm going for flanks with this. I'm getting behind you. This weapon has a really high rate of fire, so it's okay to use it close range. You can just spray and pray with the laser sight. The standard issue extended, 200 rounds. You spray for days. The subsonic, I've done a subsonic build with this gun. It actually performed pretty well, so if you want to go stealth mode, this is a good option. Yeah, I'll bring a thermal swap just in case I need it, but PKP, I don't really use the PKP a ton, but with that being said, I think it benefits from the champion with that extra. This weapon has a lot of vertical recoil, little red dot. I could definitely see the thermal with, like, you've got the built-in bipod, so like bring the thermal sight, lay prone, you get a crazy angle down a hallway or something with the thermal sight, and you can just mow down the entire enemy team. Standard issue ammo is going to be my preferred choice. Again, I want that maximum rate of fire. I want to put as many bullets down range as I can, and plus this will help you in those close quarter situations as well. RPT, this is definitely one of my favorite LMGs. I absolutely love this, and I've been using this more since they just nerfed the LCMG, because guess what? They didn't nerf the short barrel on this weapon, just the LCMG. So time to abuse the short barrel basically on the RPT. That's where I'm at. Red dot, I bring a thermal to swap. I've got the standard issue rounds. Now this is important. The standard issue is good for maps like Stadium, maps like Redacted. But if you go to a map like Discarded or Hourglass, a bigger map, bring the high power extended. That's going to be your better choice for those 100-meter encounters. The standard issue is just better up close, basically. Again, laser sight, I'm spraying and praying up close if I don't have time to aim down sights. The new LMG, the DRF Strife. This is it's a fun weapon. I haven't tier 1'd it yet. I've been kind of busy recently, but I will tier 1 it very soon. This weapon is similar to the BSV, similar to the AK5C in the fact that you can build it several different ways. There's not necessarily just like this one particular way you have to build it. Again, I'm very particular with the red dot sight. It's just nice to have for me. I've been playing around with the subsonic. You've got a 90-round drum belt magazine with the subsonic. So, yeah, having all that subsonic ammo is pretty cool for like a stealth build. So I've been kind of messing around with that a little bit. My preferred ammo, I'm kind of back and forth between the high power and the standard. If I'm not running a stealth build, high power is probably a little bit more well-rounded, but you do get 20 extra bullets with the standard, so I could see it going either way. I think they're both fine options, all three of these belt options. I'm not using the mag, honestly. It's got these standard mags. I'm not using it because you still have the LMG aim down sight speed, so even if you use the mag, you still have that slowness of an LMG. So like if you're using a regular mag, just use an AR, right? So that's why I've got all the belt options here for my ammo types. I think you can kind of play around with this. Yeah, I think high power is probably the best option. Laser sight, I bring some grenade launchers to swap. And then barrels, again, still playing around with the barrels. I think the factory is obviously a great choice. Wrap suppressor, once again, pretty common amongst my weapons. M60, not much going on here. Extended rounds, red dot, maybe throw a little thermal on there. The wrap suppressor is okay. I'm probably going to pick the factory and then the laser sight because, again, hip fire situations up close. XM8, don't use it a ton. It's okay. It's not my preferred LMG. No ammo options here. Laser sight, factory barrel. You could run a heavy suppressor if you wanted to get kind of weird, but yeah, XM8 is just not my go-to. M240B, you can't have a red dot for some reason, so let's go with the Cobra. Let's go through the 200 rounds with the extended mags, the laser, factory barrel, and sometimes I'll run the wrap suppressor on this gun, But yeah, not much going on with the attachments on that weapon. Pretty straightforward. Type 88. I do like the wrap on this one. You get 200 rounds. You get a laser. No red dot. You get a Cobra. Kind of weird. I mean, I guess you can run the XDR hollow if you want. But Type 88 is pretty fun to run with the suppressor. Go for some crazy flanks. You got 200 rounds to work with. RPK is easily my favorite vault LMG. It kind of plays like an AR. Feels a little bit more versatile, even though it is not. It's not actually, but it just feels more versatile. Little red dot here. You could also throw the Cobra because we don't get a fusion hollow. Extended mags, laser, factory barrel, or the RCOM. I'm kind of back and forth on these. But yeah, overall, I think the factory barrel is, I mean, I've said it a million times in this video, but it's never a bad choice. Moving over to the marksman rifle category, starting off with the DM7. DM7 is not a weapon that I use a lot. I think it's pretty mid. Definitely on the lower end of the weapon pool. There's two different ways you could build this. You can build it like an actual like long range, medium range DMR. In that case, I would use like the 3.5, the standard rounds, some kind of, I like the LWG grip because I don't really stand still that much. And then the champion muzzle just to kind of help manage that vertical recoil. It's a single fire weapon. You don't really have a lot of horizontal going on. So the champion is a solid barrel choice. And then another way to build this would be kind of like a close range aggro DMR, red dot, and then throw in the close combat. You get better rate of fire, a little bit more ammo. I would keep the LWG grip. You can throw a grenade launcher to swap if you need it. And then if I'm running that close combat setup, I'm going to run the RAP suppressor to kind of just use it more of like an aggro stealth DMR. SVK, probably the best DMR in the game. Once again, you can build it several different ways. I like just red dot with a standard rounds, LWG, factory barrel. I'm two-tapping you. I think the two-tap range is 100 meters. I could be wrong on that. But yeah, you could throw a sniper scope on it if you want. You could throw kind of a mid-range scope. You could sit back, take your time, maybe throw in an extended barrel. But I like to play super aggressive with it and just maximize that two-tap potential. You could throw a suppressor. You could throw, different barrels. You've got another great thing about the SVK is you can run grenade launchers. So this thing has, if you're an engineer or, if you're a medic or something like, and you have no vehicle, if you need help with vehicles, you've got this AP grenade launcher here that will kind of help you out. So yeah, SVK is a great, well-rounded weapon, and I definitely love using it a lot. VCAR, those of you who know my channel know that I love the VCAR. It's become a bit of a meme on the channel, but I've got a ton of kills. I think over 20,000 kills at this point with the VCAR. Yeah, red dot, drum mag, LWG, or laser, depending on my mood. And then I like the RAP suppressor. I like to stay under the radar. I like to flank with the VCAR. You've got 40 rounds in the drum, and then you can, depending on your range, you can get 3-shot kills. So the kill feed potential with the flanks on the VCAR are insane. Yes, it's a single fire only. Yes, there's some risk reward there, but you got 40 rounds. So just spam the trigger. If you miss a couple shots, who cares? Because you're still racking up like seven man kill feeds on every single flank that you hit. So yeah, I love the VCAR. It's easily one of my favorite weapons in the game. It's just fun to use, honestly, and you don't see a lot of people using it. So BSV, this is definitely a more popular choice in the marksman rifle category. Once again, I'm in your face with we don't have a red dot, so I've got the K8 hollow on here. The high power extended just absolutely shreds people. I think it does like 70 damage to the head with a headshot. Absolutely shreds people. You could get away with, the BSV is nice because you can bring the these little close combat mags. So, the high power you're using is more of a high damage output. Like if you want to snipe with the BSV, you want to use the high power. Even though I'm still using it up close, it's just because I'm weird. But yeah, high power with the short barrel, it just absolutely shreds people. You could also, once again, throw in the close combat ammo, get more of like a machine gun type of feel. And really, all these different ammos work really well with the BSV. But the high power is my go-to for sure. And then, you've got these barrel options here. Obviously, if you're sniping, you don't want to use the short barrel. If you're using it like a DMR, you want to use maybe the extended suppressor or the factory suppressor. But with how I use the weapon in my aggro type of playstyle, the short suppressor is always my go-to. You can mix up your grips if you want, but LWG feels nice to me. Yeah, high power or the subsonic close combat, the regular close combat. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could set this weapon up, but this is how I do it. G428, pretty strong on release. It did get nerfed. I like running the thermal 2.5 on this gun, but if not, you know, red dot. Standard issue extended feels pretty nice to me. LWG grip. I enjoy the wrap suppressor on this weapon as well. But yeah, you can use it in full auto. It's a pretty good weapon. It's not my go-to, but yeah, it's solid. EMR, I don't really like the EMR, I gotta be honest. I just don't really care for it. But red dot, extended laser, and a champion muzzle. Maybe a little suppressor to swap. I don't like the EMR personally. SVD, it's decent. Again, kind of like the EMR, I'm just not using it. Like, if I want a high-hitting, high-damage DMR, I'm just gonna use the SVK. And if I want a faster fire rate DMR, I'm just gonna use the VCAR. So I kind of have like my personal choices that I roll with, and these Vault marksman rifles just don't really do it for me personally. Let me know in the comments if you guys have a different opinion on that, but yeah, that's going to do it for the marksmans. Wrapping up here in the sniper category, SWS, probably my favorite sniper, just all the way around, just very solid. With this particular skin, the red mist gives you a very crisp sight with the 6X. Normally the 6X has kind of like an orange reticle. It's a little bit more bulky. But on this particular skin, it's very crispy and very precise. And so, yeah. But you'll see across all my snipers, I run the 6X. That's just to make my life easier on my eyes and also help me like read distances. I know the weapons have different bullet velocities, but just using the same scope across the board for my snipers just kind of helps me dial it in if I'm changing between weapons. The standard issue is fine. You don't even need to run the extended, honestly. Just run the standard. Laser sight, you can run a master key on this, which is kind of crazy. So if you want to have a little shotgun attached to your sniper, that's always nice. Same thing with the grenade launcher, kind of crazy. All of my snipers just use the extended barrel. There's really no reason to use anything else. You want that projectile velocity. I don't care about the rate of fire, really. Another thing with the underbarrel, I see people use like the BCG or the grip, and let me just tell you, this is a giant waste of time. Don't use either of these. If you just stand still, if you like, obviously you want to strafe back and forth when you're lining up your shot, and then so that way you don't get sniped, right? And then when it's time to actually shoot, just stand still for that one little frame, shoot your shot, and then move again. And that way you have 100% accuracy when you stand still. I don't know why people run these grips like they're gaining extra accuracy. It doesn't make any sense to me. Just run a laser sight on your underbarrel. That way, if you get into a weird situation where you need to hip fire somebody, you have a better chance of landing that shot. Moving over to the DXR, if you want a long-range sniper to hit 1,000-meter headshots across the map, this is your gun right here. I could definitely see if you wanted to throw like a bigger scope, but once again, I feel comfortable with the 6X. Standard issue rounds is fine. It comes standard with the bipod, and then once again, run the extended barrel. The extended barrel on this weapon is basically hit scan. Like 300-400 meters away, you're just aiming right on them, and they're just dying. So it's crazy. The DXR is excellent for long range sniping. NTW is the exact opposite. It's terrible for long range sniping. This is a weapon you want to use under 100 meters. If you use it under 100 meters, you can get one-shot body shots. Obviously, you can get headshots further out than that, but I like running the 6X thermal or just the regular 6X. Once again, I like to stay with that 6X magnification. It feels pretty standard and universal across all the maps. Like, I feel like on a 10X or an 8X, there's too much zoom for me, and so the 6X works really well. It's just a well-rounded scope. Regular ammo, and I bring the high power if I want to shoot some vehicles. XCE, this is a really fun weapon, actually. If you like quick scoping, if you like being an aggro sniper, this is going to be your go-to. It comes with a particular scope for this weapon, and it just so happens to be a 6X, but I just use the default scope. I think it looks really nice. Factory barrel on here. Laser sight, once again, I don't know why. Like, you could run an LWG, I guess, but I don't know what other underbarrel you would run. Just run a laser sight. I think helps out in those random hipfire situations that you need it for. Then I run the standard extended mags on this, just because you have a quick rate of fire with this weapon. The bolt action is very quick, so I need a lot of bullets in my magazine with this weapon. But yeah, the XCE is a lot of fun if you're like an aggro type of sniper. That's going to be your go-to. GOL, again, 6X factory barrel. I take off the bipod and then the extended mags. GOL has like one of the best sounds for like the snipers or even just general weapon sounds in the game. So I definitely really enjoy using the GOL. It just feels nice to use. All right, last category here. We've got the tactical weapon category here, starting off with a really strong weapon, the MCS. This weapon's gone through many changes over the course of 2042, but this is where we've ended up. I normally don't run a sight on my shotgun. It's a shotgun. Like I'm not aiming down sights. I'm hip firing like 99% of the time. So yeah, iron sights, factory barrel, laser sight, and I feel like with shotguns, the ammo is probably going to be the biggest talking point. They've changed the number 4 buckshot used to be the play, but they recently changed it. I've seen people use the slugs, and like even the flechette used to be a viable option, but in my opinion, 01 buckshot is the best well-rounded slug or shell that you can use. And I get consistent one taps with this, like I don't know, around 15-20 meters. So yeah, 01 buckshot, no sight, no suppressor. If you're using anything else other than a laser sight on your shotgun, you're just doing it wrong. I'm sorry. GVT, the absolute worst weapon in the game. I'll die on that hill. It doesn't matter if you use it as a close range marksman rifle or if you're trying to snipe with it with a 6X. Obviously, it one taps in the head, but it's just, if you want to use a sniper, just use an actual sniper because it's going to do a better job. The GVT is just a hit marker machine. You've got 6 shots. It's a single load. It takes 3 shots to the body to kill people, depending on what range you're at. I just think it's a terrible weapon. The standard issue rounds, LWG, factory barrel. And I like the Ghost hybrid on it, but I can't stand the GVT. I think it's awful. 12M, also can't stand the 12M. I think it's disgusting. No sight, 20 round drum. Laser sight. Once again, this is the only attachment you should use on the underbarrel slot for the shotguns. If you're running around with a foregrip on your shotgun, you're banned from my channel. Just kidding. Short barrel. Yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward. 12M, you just hold the trigger down, everyone dies. Crossbow. Crossbow's pretty fun. There's 2 ways to run the crossbow. My way, which is going to be more of like a shotgun type of setup, like in your face, like 20 meters, one tapping people with the standard bolt, little red dot, little LWG action. And then the second way you can run it like a sniper. Throw a little hybrid scope, throw a little long range scope on there, run the explosive bolts. You can sit 100 meters away, pop somebody with an explosive bolt, and they blow up, and it's hilarious. So yeah, crossbow's pretty fun. I prefer using it more of like a shotgun though, just getting those close quarters situations. The Rorsch, I honestly don't like this gun. 2 ways you can build this. Well, technically 3 ways, but I'm not going to talk about the burst. This weapon changes fire modes based on the ammo that you put in it. So you've got single fire with the stream capacitor, which is quote unquote sniper mode. High power, which is, stream capacitor is the full auto, and then the high power is the single fire. My bad. So if I'm using this weapon, I'm going to use it in the full auto variant. I think it's a little bit more fun and engaging that way. And I'm running the Maul hybrid, and I'm switching my scope to the little red dot scope because there's no red dot available on this weapon. Yeah, I think the burst ammo is just terrible. I don't enjoy it at all. I see people snipe with this weapon, and it's perfectly viable if you want to snipe with it. Throw you a 6X on there, and then use the high power capacitor, which makes it like a single shot that charges up. And it's hit scan basically across the map. So if you want to snipe with this, go be my guest. I think it's not as enjoyable as using just like a bolt action sniper personally. So it's just not my go-to. That's why I run it. When I run it, which I never do, I do the full auto stream capacitor magazine. And then lastly, we have the NVK, the Season 4 shotgun. It's pretty fun to use. I still think I like the MCS over this, but I would definitely take the NVK over the 12M. I run the buckshot. I run the SDNR laser. Why do you need a sight? It's a shotgun. And then the factory barrel. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, NVK is it's not a bad choice, but as far as shotguns go, I think I'm going to take the MCS over the NVK. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap it up for me today. I hope that you enjoyed the video going through each individual weapon in Battlefield 2042, talking about the loadout, talking about the pros and cons of the weapon. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Consider dropping a like and subscribing if you did enjoy. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you very much for watching.